What's up, guys? Welcome to the explanations for the Chapter 7 test. Let's do it. Alright, question number 1. Write the percent as a fraction or mixed number. So every percentage is really percent. It's per 100. So we just put that literally over 100. But after you do that, all you got to do is you got to reduce. So what can these both be divided by? They can actually both be divided by 20. So I'm going to divide both of these fractions by 20. 40 divided by 20 is 2. 100 divided by 20 is 5. And there we go. There is our fraction. Okay, next we want 25%. So same thing, 25 over 100. And then we reduce it by, both of these are actually divisible by 25. So I'm going to write it like that. 25 divided by 25 is 1. 100 divided by 25, 4. Boom. Next question, 72 over 100. Now I'm going to divide both of these by, let's see, can we do 4? You know what, and here's the thing, if we're not sure, we'll just start with 2. And we could do 4, but let's say we don't know. This is 36 on top. 100 divided by 2 is 50. And we can divide, they're both even, we can divide by 2 again. Boom, boom. This one becomes 18 over 25. So you see, it can be a step-by-step process. You don't have to necessarily nail the greatest common factor right off the bat, but you'll eventually get there. Next, 323. So this becomes 323 over 100. Now, I don't believe these have any factors in common, but what we can do is turn this into a mixed number. That's what simplest form usually implies. So 323, 100 goes into that 3 times, right? So we pull a 3 out, and the remainder is 23. So 23 over 100, just like that. If you're not sure how to do that mentally, you can always set up the long division problem and do it like this. 100 goes in 3 times. And then we got a remainder of 23, and you just write it as 3 with the remainder over the divisor. All right, question number 5. Write the percent as a fraction or mixed number. Same thing, 0.8 is going to go over 100. But we don't want a decimal in the percentage. So I'm going to move this over while simultaneously adding a 0. We're basically moving the decimal over in both, right? To make this into 1,000, I had to move that decimal there. So now we've got, or the other way to think about it is multiply the top and bottom by 10. So now we've got 8 over 1,000, and now it's reduced. Top and bottom can both be divided by 4. This becomes 2 over 250, actually can be divided by 2 again. It becomes 1 over 125, like this. All right, write the decimal or fraction as a percent. So here's my method. When we're writing this as a percent, we're just gonna say, first convert it to a decimal. There's a shortcut for this, but I always prefer to do it this way. The shortcut is you multiply the denominator and the numerator by 2 to get it to be something over 100. And then that's straight away, whatever's over 100, that's the percent. But it doesn't always work. So if you do it this way, it will always work. So 50 goes into 180. 3 times 50 is 150. Subtract and see where my decimal is. Then this becomes 30, add a 0. 50 goes into 300 6 times. And we get 0. So we got 0.36. As a percentage, you just move the decimal once, twice, and it becomes 36%. All right, next question. Write the decimal as a percent. Same thing. Set up the long division equation. 230. 20 goes into this. Oops. Once. 1 times 20 is 20. Bring down the 0. Now we got 20 goes into 30 once. 20. 10. Bring down one more 0, and 20 goes into 100 5 times. And now we got no remainder. So this is move the decimal over once, twice as a percentage, and this equals 115%. Boom. Now this is a decimal. How do we write this as a percentage? These are the nicest ones. We just simply, as to convert it to a percentage, we just go 1, 2, and 79%. Very nice, very straightforward. Same one here, but look, don't get thrown by the zeros. It's the same the exact same principle. 1, 2. So the answer is 0.5%, not 5%, 0.5%. So be very mindful of decimal placement. Next we got write the decimal fraction as a percent. Same thing. 18.3518. Decimal moves once, twice. Got 1835.18%. 1835, and they round up to 0.2. That's fine. Boom. Of all the science teachers, it's 7 arrows, 12/25 teach math, 0.4 teach English, and 12% teach science. Order the subjects taught by the teachers from least to greatest. So we need to get these guys all in equivalent, either all decimals or all percentages or whatever. Let's do it as percentages just to keep it simple. Oops, science is 12%. Math is 0.4, which is, you move the decimal over once, twice to get to a percentage, so it's 40%, right? Because the 0 has to fill in there. And then what about this guy, 12/25? That is, oh, I'm sorry, this is English, excuse me. English. Okay, now let's do 12 divided by 25. 25 goes into 120 4 times. 4 times 25 is 100. And we'll bring it down to 0 like this. 25 goes into 208 times. And we're done. But that's the decimal. Right, but we got to move that decimal over once, twice, and we got our percentage of 48%. So which ones? So from least to greatest, it's science, then English, then math, actually in that exact same order. All right, cool. Question 12. Of all the science teachers, it's 7 arrows, same thing. If there are 50 teachers total, how many teach math? Well, remember, it was 48% teach math. How do we take 48% of something? We convert it back to the decimal equivalent, 1, 2, boom. And we take 0.48 and we multiply by the total, which is 50. 48% of 50. So let's do this multiplication. That's 40, 0, 0, 20. We add them up. 0, 0, 4, 2, 1, 2, boom. And that's our answer, is 24. Cool. Let's move on to question 13. Of all the teachers at 7 arrows, 12/25 teach math. All right, same idea. How many teachers teach English and science combined? So this is 48% teach math, right? And of the other two, it's 52% teach English and science, right? It's the remainder. So we take 52.52 times that total number of 50, and we do the same thing. 0, 10, 0, 0, 25. We get 0, 0, 6, 2, so 26. And you notice that's 26, math was 24, they add up to 50, so that makes sense. All right, good. Next question. 20% of 500, same thing. 20% converted to the decimal equivalent of 0.2. Then we do 0.2 times 500, which is 0, 0, 10. Move the decimal over one spot because we have one decimal place up here. And it's 100. Next we have what percent of 8 is 24? Percent of 8, that means the 8 is the whole. A lot of times the way I do this is we can use a percent proportion. We're trying to find what percent of 8, that means 8's the whole, but then the bottom is 24. What comes on this side? This is my percentage side. So here the total is 100, but x is what we're trying to solve. We're trying to solve that percentage, and now we cross multiply. 8x equals 24 hundredths. Multiplies here, this multiplies here. And we divide both sides by 8. And x equals 300%. All right, next 13 is 25% of what number? So check this out. It's a percent proportion again. We always start with the 100 at the bottom. We know 13 is our part. They're saying 13 is 25%, so the 25 comes above the 100. 13 is 25% of what number? Well, that's the x. Cross multiply and we will solve. So this becomes 25x equals 1300. Divide both sides by 25. Divide both sides by 25. I believe this is 52. X equals 52. Now this isn't a percentage because this is just a value. We're trying to solve for x. If we're trying to solve on this side, yes, then we get a percent. Here we're just getting a number. What percent of 8 is 1? What percent of 8 is 1? Boom, you see the of 8? Again, that means that 8 comes at the bottom, the 1 stays on top, and now we cross multiply. Boom, boom. 8x equals 100. Divide both sides by 8. Divide both sides by 8. And that, I believe, is 10, 11, 12, 12.5, 12.5. And since we're solving for this value up here, the percentage, this is a percent. 18 is what percent of 60? What percent? So the x is the percent above the 100 per 100. That's what percent literally translates to in French. Now we're going to multiply both sides by cross multiplication. 60x equals 1800. Divide both sides by 60. We get x equals, this is 30. And we're solving for the percent, so that's 30%. All right, question 19. Johnny wants to buy a new Justin Bieber CD to impress all of his friends. This CD costs $14 plus an 8% sales tax. How much will he pay in sales tax? Well, we need to take 8% of 14. Remember, 8%. When we're actually calculating it, is actually 0.08, right? We move the decimal spot over once, twice to 0.08. And you multiply this by 0.08. 8 times 4 is 32. Carry the 3. 8 times 1 plus 3 is 11. We don't need to do the second row because it's just all zeros. Well, how many decimals do we have? Places do we have behind the decimal? 1, 2. So this goes 1, 2. So the sales tax is $1.12. All right, next. Johnny wants to buy a new Justin Bieber CD, same thing. How much will the CD cost in total? Now, we already calculated that is $14. Sales tax is $1.12. So we just add these guys and we get 2, 1, 5, 1. Just 15 12s. Next question. Find the percent change from 15. Here's my original. Here's my new. From 15 to 20. The change is 5. And then we put that 5 over the original. And this gives us our percentage. So it's really, since it's 5 over 15, we do 5 divided by 15. And this actually will become, since 5 is 1/3 of 15, this will become 33.333%. We do another 3, right? It'll kind of go on forever. So we'd say 0.33 going on forever. Move the decimal over twice. It's a 33.3%. And it's, what is it, increase or decrease? It's an increase because it's gone up. And that's that. Next, find the percentage change, round to the nearest tenth if necessary, from 69 to 23. Same idea, right? Here's my original, here's my new. 69 to 23. What's the change is 46. And this is a decrease, right? It's going down. So now again, the percentage we say 46 divided by 69. And this is actually times 6, right? So that's 360 plus 54. It's 410, 414. I believe that's right. 360 plus 54, 360, 410, 414. All right, yep. And then this becomes 46. Yes, that's correct. Another 0 comes down, and you see it's 460 divided by 6 again. So this becomes 0.66666, which is actually, if we move the decimal over, boom, boom, it's 66.6%. Approximately this guy. All right, question number 23. Find the selling price for each item and give them the cost of the markup or discount. Okay, selling price. So this, now this is a 25% discount. So it's 12, and we're gonna use a calculator for this one. So we take 25%, we multiply it like this. Let's go to our calculator. Oops, not this one. Calculator. All right, 0.25 times 12 to 8. And then we subtract 307, 12 from the original, right? Boom, so it's $921. All right, next question. Find the selling price for each item given the cost and the percent of the markup or discount. Marked up, so it's 60% marked up. So we say 16. We first calculate the amount that's marked up. So 60% is 0.6 if we move that decimal over once, twice. So this one we can just multiply out quickly. 6 times 6 is 36, carry the 3. 6 times 1 plus 3 is 9. Decimal comes here. So it's $9.60 added on to 16. Add them up like this: 0, 6, 5, 1, 2, and it's 25.60. Boom. Next question, 25. So we got 28% discount of 242. So again, it's going to be 0.28 times 242, and whatever that value is, it's subtracted from the original price. So let's go ahead and calculate it here. So it's 0.28 times 242 equals And then we say, well, 67.76, 242 minus that answer. Boom, 174.24. Next, find the selling price of this guy, 555. Let's write it out. 555 with an 11% markup. So we multiply it by 0.11 to get the markup and then add that to the value. So let's do it like this. 555 times 0.11 equals 61.05, and then that's added back on to 555, and we get 616.05. All right. What is the accumulated simple interest to the nearest cent of 2,400 invested at 6% for 10 years? The interest equals principal times rate times time. The principal is the amount of money we have, which is 2,400. The rate is the percentage, but as a decimal, so it's not 6%, but it's 0.06, right? We move the decimal over once, twice to get to the decimal equivalent. And then last at 10 years, multiply it all by 10. And you can do this mentally if you want. It's up to you. But the calculator, you can plug this all in. It's very easy. 10 times 0.06 is 0.6. And then if we wanted to do this multiplication, I'll put it down here. And we got 0, 0, 24, 2, 14. Move the decimal spot over once. And we got 1440. And that's how much money is made. That's the accumulated simple interest. A lot of money to make 6% for 10 years. Compounded interest. Now, here's the key with the compounded interest. A little bit tougher formula. So we want the total amount in the account. Well, here's the formula. All right, so we have principal times 1 plus r to the t. So it's the same variables, right? We've got r, which is rate. We got t, which is time. Just a little different format. T is an exponent. Definitely use a calculator for this. So 20,000 is my principal amount I'm starting with. 1 plus my rate, which is 10%, but as a decimal is 0.1. And then t is for 2 years. Boom, just like that. And so I'll show you how to write it on the calculator here. 20,000 times 1 plus 0.1. Boom, and then this quantity to the second power. Boom, 24,200. All right. U.S. House of Representatives conducted a survey about what they wanted for lunch on Tuesday afternoon. The results are shown in the table below. 5% wanted turkey, salad, so on and so forth. Which of the following circle graphs represents the data? So look, In-N-Out, it's got to be the biggest. Hot dog's going to be about a quarter, right? This looks about right. Turkey sandwich, 5%. This one looks good. Let's just look at the other ones really quickly. In-N-Out, hot dog. Yeah, this one's wrong because the turkey sandwich is bigger than the salad. Same, turkey sandwich shouldn't be bigger than the salad, and In-N-Out's in the wrong spot. And yeah, so In-N-Out's got to be this big one. It's this top graph. So this is a little bit more than 50%. Looks exactly like 25% for the hot dog, so we're going there. All right. Table shows the number of pets each player for the Laker owns on a circle graph. How big would the section be that represents how many Laker players owns 4 pets? Okay, so 4. So 0, right? Nobody owns 4 pets. So we would say we wouldn't include that section in our graph because there are no Laker players that own 4 pets, right? It's kind of a little bit of a trick question. But if there's none that own, they don't go in the graph. Okay. Final question. Find the total amount in an account to the nearest cent if 10,000 is compounded annually at 4% for 5 years. Here's that formula one more time. So we got A equals P times 1 plus R to the T. So principal is 10,000 times 1 plus 4%, which is 0.04, right? The decimal equivalent to the 5th power. Let's try it out. 10,000 times 1 plus 0.04 to the 5th power. So after 5 years, you have 12,166.5 and then round up 3. And look, I mean, that means you make 2,166.53 cents and 53 cents, and that's the total amount after the interest. All right, cool. So that is it for the explanations for the Chapter 7 test. Time to move on to the next section.